What's up everybody, this is Mosen here with MTA 63 and it is the 10th of April 2019 and we're getting closer to the classic WoW release, and today's topic are going to be the classic WoW Reddit, Ret DPS and the BIS. So let's just start with something casual, and you know, I try to usually scan the Reddits for your daily comment and funny things and news regarding classic WoW for you. There has been a couple of things, but we can talk about that tomorrow. For example, I found this one here to be particularly interesting, and it came in from Illegitimus, right, on the classic WoW Reddit. And yeah, I just thought I'd share this with you, and probably a lot of people can relate. Especially the skinners, right? So let me skin. So this is a public service announcement to everybody. Think of your skinners in the group, okay? Please loot the mobs so they can actually skin and make 10 silvers with their profession. They don't have anything, don't take it away from them. Okay, so I found that one to be pretty cool, and I think a lot of people can relate. But on a more serious note, Embriel posted this on also on the classic WoW Reddit section, and he is a Scandinavian player, if I understood it right, and he says, will or do we have a Discord to coordinate which nationalities go to which servers? I'm Swedish myself and I'd like to play on a server with a lot of Scandinavians on it. So first of all, probably the English speaking servers are going to be your go-to choice, I'd say. Because, well, obviously, Scandinavians tend to speak German. God, no. They don't speak German. Tend to speak English pretty well. Much better than Germans, for example. And Germans have their own servers, right? So I thought this might be interesting for anybody that is not from a country that is going to have their own servers. And now, as it turns out, as you probably all know, our guild is pretty international and very mixed, but we'll all move to English-speaking servers altogether, even with the Germans, or a lot of the Germans that we have in the guild, or you know, Italians, French people, but I don't know, Belgian people. We have a lot of people there. So I posted a comment here to help these guys out, and so my idea was if in the comments there was nothing posted really that indicated that there's going to be a server just to gather people up, and so I posted our Discord there, and if you guys are interested in that and you don't want to play on, I mean, first of all, I don't know, maybe you're from Serbia and there are no Serbian servers, obviously, you can join our Discord and move with us to the server that we then choose. It's going to be EU server and English speaking server, but at least you will know that you will have you know, a guild there, or a lot of people. Even if you're not in the guild, it's not about the guild right now, it's more about being on the Discord and moving on to the same server that we are going to be on. And maybe we can gather, we have a lot of people there that aren't even in the guild on the server as well, around like 1,000 now, and maybe, you know, at least you'll know that there's a lot of people that are also not English native speakers but at least we're all going to be on one server, so you can find maybe other people from your nationality. So the Discord server is linked in this description here below, and I put it there in the Reddit as well. And yeah, maybe it's actually a good thought of Embriel here. So yeah, if you are from some Scandinavian country or anywhere else and you want to play on English-speaking servers when Classic hits, why don't we all get together on the Discord? Well, you guys make your own Discord, but as said, we already have a pretty big Discord server, and at least we can all, you know, come together on one server and you don't have to feel so alone. I think that might actually make sense. Then we are going to look at a comment, and it came in from Forrest Bertrand, and it's about Ret DPS, right? And Forrest, I appreciate the comment, obviously, but Yeah, Forrest is, he says, well, first what he says. I'm actually of the mind that Ret never saw its full potential in vanilla, and Sims and advanced analytics now will show that Ret's raid damage is amazing, maybe even top tier. So I had to get him down a little bit. I appreciate the enthusiasm, right, and it's very much appreciated, but the thing is, I already commented there, obviously, you know, Ret DPS is not top tier, and it won't be. So, as much as I appreciate all the new insight that we have, I don't think it's going to be top tier. It can certainly be, you know, really, really good, and it can certainly be one of the normal raid DPS that you can think of, basically. Hold on, give me a second here. Something's not quite right at the moment. It can certainly be on the level of, you know, hunters or, I don't know, other normal DPS classes, but if you compare it, for example, to a really fat fire mage and you have the same player on the fire mage or a fury warrior with the same amount of consumables, those will always come out on top, because just because the numbers are, you know, tuned that way. And but certainly I would agree that Ret hasn't seen the full potential, and we'll see where it can go on official, where I'll also have a Ret alt. The thing is, if everything is working correctly and everything's scripted correctly, then, you know, Ret should really scale with a lot of the spell power stuff in combination with a lot of crit that can really hurt. And you know, then you can also you also usually have a lot of mana, and you can spam a lot of judgments, and with the ring Wrath of Scenarios, you know, right here, that will increase your spell damage. It basically just procs all the time, and even for Ret it's BIS, and we're talking about the BIS already. It seems we talked about this already though. And yeah, don't get me wrong, if you're spamming, you know, certainly there's some consumables if you use them as a Ret, like the Shadow Oil in combination with the Shadow Elixir and the normal Spell Power Elixir, those in combination, and then you have a flask of Spell Power, you know, Supreme Power on, and on top of that you maybe have, you know, your Mongoose Pot set, your Jujus, all of these things, you can make it with a somewhat reasonable expense every week, so you don't have to burn money literally, and you can get that back in for sure, and you have good AoE potential as well. There's certain things you can do, and in that case, Reds can definitely be midfield, and you always gotta look at it this way. Not every guild is going to be really poop sock tryhard, so that if you do that with the Red, you are certainly going to come out, you know, maybe in the top ones, like maybe 1 to 8 or somewhere around those. But I doubt that you're going to take the top spots even in a mediocre guild, because you always have solid Fury, Fire Mage, DPS somewhere. And it's just that in a competitive raid environment, you will have to do everything to be midfield, right? All of these tryhard things you have to do to be in the midfield, and I'm talking about like 15. And if you're fine with that, I always just say the DPS compares pretty well to Hunter DPS. It's not amazing, but if the player just pulls his own weight and he you know, tries, he certainly could have the spot. And you know, it can be better, it can be worse. The problem, and I also told this to Forrest, it's interesting to talk about it again. We haven't talked about Red in a while. The thing to note here is that we actually usually see Red Paladins that want to, you know, wear tier 2 and, you know, the shiny armor and I don't know, some cool sword, or not even a sword, right? Then there are dwarf paladins wanting to play Reds in tier 2 armor, and they want to wield an axe, and yeah, it's just not optimal. That's what I've, from my experience, seen, and a lot of Reds do. They don't really get how. It's the same with the Feral that we talked about earlier. I think we talked about it in another MTA a couple days back. that you start playing because you come from an add-on and you want to play you know, a feral druid, and then you realize, oh shit man, this is vanilla, this is fucking hard to pull off. And usually people think, oh, tier 2 armor, right? It's a red set, that's what reds wear, right? It's tier 2, it's spell damage on, and it's certainly not bad if you have it, but it's certainly not the best either, because you really depend on a lot of crit, and it's a lot harder. And Forrest posted this comment on the below the red guide that I made. So as a general, if you're new and you just happen to tune in here and you want to play red, stack up your crit first, priority, and then stack spell power, and then you stack spell power and strength and all that kind of stuff. But strength really isn't that important, so the most important stat is crit and agility, and then you want to stack spell power where you can get it, and of course strength items and all that kind of stuff. The more you crit, the more damage you deal, and don't neglect your mana pool. Those are a couple tips I can give you right now, and very, very short. There's way more to it, but you really need to try hard to pull it off. So that's for the Ret DPS today, and that leads us into the next topic, and it is, of course, the BIS. And for the BIS today, we have a recipe for you, and it's the Transmute Elemental Fire recipe, and I just thought I would share, or I could share this with you. It's not something that everybody knows about, certainly if you're a new player. I just thought I'd give you the quick BIS recipe tip here for alchemists. If you are an alchemist and you have it at 300, what you can do is you can push your reputation with the Thorium Brotherhood. That's Searing Gorge, the flight point up there, the dwarves, right? You can push your reputation with those guys to only friendly, okay, only friendly. I can open it in the Atlas loot here as well. And all you gotta do is push it to friendly. Where is it? Thorium Brotherhood. The Brohood. Here it is. And you can get your hands on Transmute Elemental Fire, and what that does is, right, so before, a lot of stuff will drop, especially Heart of Fires in MC, in the world, right? When you grind elementals anyway, you will sometimes get Hearts of Fire. And usually, this recipe won't be out, I don't think. Maybe it will be out, we don't know that yet. On private servers it came out later, so the Hearts of Fires were always really, really cheap, and the Elemental Fires were pretty expensive. That's the background, and you could get if you can get your hands on some Hearts of Fire, right, you can turn them into 3 Elemental Fires, and the Elemental Fires are going to be used for greater fire protection potions, which are spammed by basically everybody that raids. So all you have to do is push it to friendly, right, and that's a repeatable quest in Searing Gorge, a Thorium Point, where you just turn in King's Blood, some dinosaur scales, I believe, and some coal, or you can do that with leather or ore and something else. So everybody can do it. It's pretty cheap, and not everybody knows about this. And if you get the Hearts of Fires anyway, you can turn them into 3 Elemental Fires, and you can make a lot of money with that. And if you have the greater fire protection potion recipe, of course, then you can transmute them, transform them into the pots themselves. So you have 1 Heart of Fire equals 3 pots with some Dreamfall added, and that would already be it. I think that already wraps it up for this MTA. We're gonna fire up the stream tonight. If you're interested in seeing some Prot Paladin raiding, right now, April 2019, we are playing Prot Paladin on Northdale. And so tune into the stream if you like. Otherwise, I say have a very pleasant day. Good luck with the drops in your adventures in Azeroth, and I will see you next time.